वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल द सोलफुल डायरी। आज की वीडियो में हम बात करेंगे W.B. yeats की पोम लैपिस लाजुलाई की। W.B. yeats के बारे में हम पहले एक वीडियो में डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, जिसका लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है। चलिए आज की वीडियो में हम लैपिस लाजुलाई के बारे में बात करते हैं। पोम को इन डेप्थ जानने से पहले जान लेते हैं उसके कुछ की फीचर्स जान लेते हैं। लैपिस लाजुलाई delves into art's power to transcend tragedies sparked by a symbolic Chinese carving paint gift, revealing depth in creativity. पोम जो है हैरी क्लिफ्टन को डेडिकेटेड है, जिन्होंने W.B. yeats को एक प्रेशियस स्टोन गिफ्ट किया था उनकी 70th बर्थडे में। Yeats uses marvelous carving to meditate on the role of art in the face of the tragic world. In his letter to Dorothy Wellesley on 6th July 1935, Yeats has spoken about this large piece of stone that intrigued him to meditate over it. He describes lapis lazuli as carved by some Chinese sculptor that resembles a mountain with a temple trees, paths, and an ascetic pupil about to climb the mountain. जब न्यू जनरेशन एक्शन में आती है तो आर्टिस्ट की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है to provide what is needed in the future. The poet talks about art which plays an important role when the world is hysterical about war and its consequences. The poet is examining the possibility of harmony and serenity despite a chaotic environment. The poem is in the form of a lyric. What is a lyric? A lyric is a poem that expresses personal feeling and thoughts. The scene carved on the stone, the poet feels that art could bring peace and solace amid a chaotic situation. Stanza 1. I have heard that hysterical women say they're sick of the palette and fiddle bow, of poets that are always gay. For everybody knows or else should know that if nothing drastic is done, aeroplane and zeppelin will come, pitch like King Billy bomb balls in until the town lie beaten flat. पोम जो है वो बिगिन होती है as a response to hysterical woman who the poet believes to lament over a most natural change in history. Since the shadow of impending war was hanging over everyone in the 1930s, they expressed their indifferences to art, for it is gay or upbeat. They hoped for something drastic to be done to prevent a war. At this point, the speaker attempts to demonstrate the healing effect of art. Stanza 2. All perform their tragic play, their struts, Hamlet, there is Lear, that's Ophelia, that Cordelia, yet they should the last scene be there, the great stage curtain about to drop, if worthy their prominent part in the play. Do not break up their lines to weep, they know that Hamlet and Lear are gay, gaiety transfiguring all that dread, all men have aimed at, found and lost, blackout, heaven blazing into the head, tragedy wrought to its utmost, though Hamlet rambles and Lear rages, and all the drop scenes drop at once upon 100,000 stages, it cannot grow by an inch or an ounce. In the second stanza of the poem, Yeats responds with several counter-arguments to support his view on the healing power of art. First, he alludes to the Shakespearean tragedies Hamlet and King Lear. Despite knowing the pessimistic end of the play, the actors who played these roles on stage go on with the play. They do not break up their lines to weep just because they know that Hamlet and Lear are gay. Moreover, human life has always been tragic. Hamlet and Lear enact their tragic roles all over the modern world, and the drop curtain is likely to drop all at once upon 100,000 stages. Stanza 3. On their own feet they came, or on shipboard, camelback, horseback, assback, muleback, old civilization put the sword. Then they and their wisdom went to rack. No handiwork of Callimachus, who handled marble as if it were bronze, made draperies that seemed to rise when sea wind swept the corner stands. His long clamp chimney, shaped like the stem of a slender palm, stood but a day. All things fall and are built again, and those that built them again are gay. Yeats refers to world civilization and a world of sculpture. The poet says that so many civilizations in the world have fallen and are not heard anymore. Old civilizations have been put to the sword, but new ones arise to fill the void left by them. Therefore, we should not feel sorry if our own civilization is also destroyed. Further, the artist who contributes most to each civilization will be as defeated as everyone. Here, he refers to the classical sculptor Callimachus, who made beautiful marble sculptures that do not exist now. The poet believes that all things are destroyed and are built up again. All things fall and are built again. This contrasts the stance in the poem, the gyres from exaltation in the destructive element, or to an aesthetic voice in the destructive and creative. Stanza 4. Two Chinamen, behind them a third, are carved in lapis lazuli. Over them flies a long-legged bird, a symbol of longevity. The third, doubtless a serving man, carries a musical instrument. Yeats describes the carving in lapis lazuli, which is believed to have been done by some Chinese sculptor. The carving on lapis lazuli features a scene in which three Chinese men are trekking up a mountainside. Two of them are Chinamen, an ascetic and his disciple, and the third one who follows them carries a musical instrument. It also features a long-legged bird flying overhead. According to the poet, the bird is a symbol of longevity. It juxtaposes the human beings who are limited to their narrow lifespan. Stanza 5. Every discoloration of the stone, every accidental crack or dent seems a watercourse or an avalanche, or lofty slope where it still snows. Though doubtless plum or cherry branch sweetens the little halfway, those Chinamen climb towards, and I delight to imagine them seated there. There, on the mountain and the sky, on all the tragic scene they stare. One asks for mournful melodies, accomplished fingers begin to play. Their eyes, mid many wrinkles, their ancient glittering eyes are gay. Yeats concludes Lapis Lazuli in the fifth stanza by describing the carving in lapis lazuli of two Chinese men and another standing behind them, and a long-legged bird flies above them. Every discoloration or crack or dent of the stone indicates a watercourse or an avalanche or some lofty slope covered with snow. The poet sees a rest house surrounded by plum trees and cherry bushes halfway up the slope. Yeats imagines the men climbing up the mountain and sitting and staring at the tragic scene of human existence. He imagines one of the men describes to listen to some mournful melodies. The expert artist begins to play the instrument As he plays, the other men's glittering eyes will be gay and joyous despite the tragic scene around them. Thus, the poet concludes that art can keep people happy even in the midst of dire tragedy. Poetic devices, allusion to aeroplanes and zeppelins and the destruction of cities. Personification, the men in the carving, he imagines them to be sitting on the mountain and taking a deep, vast look at the scenery present in front of them. There on the mountain and the sky, on all the tragic scenes they stare. The bird image that appears on the carving is interpreted by the poet to delineate a life of longevity. The symbolism present in the line, over them flies a long-legged bird, a symbol of longevity juxtaposed with narrow human lifespan. They are compared to Japanese haiku, something more eternal and enduring. Themes: tragedy and joy. The poem encourages an optimistic view of human affairs and seeks a contradictory truth between human tragedy and gaiety. The redemptive power of art. The poem suggests that artists' creativity helps humanity keep going even after the deaths of entire cultures, the death and birth of civilization. The poem contemplates the rise and fall of civilization in general, noting that great civilizations have risen and fallen many times before. The West and the East. The poem juxtaposes the antithetical principle between the West and the East. The cycle of destruction and rebuilding. The poem suggests that the end of a civilization and human limits go together in the cycle of destruction and rebuilding. थैंक यू। आई होप आज की वीडियो आपको पसंद आई। अगर अच्छी एंड इन्फॉर्मेटिव लगी तो लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब टू माई चैनल। हमें कमेंट करके बताइए कि आप किस टॉपिक में वीडियो देखना चाहते हैं। मिलते हैं कल एक और इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो के साथ शाम 4 बजे।